about maybe 30 minutes. We got about maybe 30 minutes. We got
Roof make appears to be the Certainteed Horizon shingle, which is now a discontinued shingle. As we are flying over it, it was apparent that there is definitely a granule bonding defect going on with the actual shingle itself. Looks like the granule bonding defect is only in the applique of the shingle. The shingle itself has a mechanical failure due to craze cracking, which is shrinkage and expansion of the actual shingle itself. Right in the very front, off the main gable facing front left elevation, there appears to be a prior repair in the valley. Front elevation first. The granule bonding defect is really evident in this area. Also appears to be offset exposures from during the install or installation, the shingles were not chalked off with chalk lines and installed in straight rows. Also appears to be racking lines from where the shingles were put on straight up and down and not staggered left to right. There does not appear to be any impressions from the peril of hail to the box vents of the roof. This box vent has been chalked. Slide impressions on the back facing side appears to be less than ½ inch in diameter, 1/4 inch impressions. Short row exposure. The courses are stacked where the first top layer is probably right at a 5½ inch exposure, and the bottom one is probably at a 2-inch exposure. There are also spot defects inside the application itself, where the shingle was actually manufactured as a 3-tab, but then asphalt was added to the very top mat and regranulated, which caused the defect and the breakdown in the actual shingle itself. Valleys appear to be a closed-cut valley, tied in from the main slope off to the hip extension. The offset exposures are really evident in this area right here. As you can see, a more prominent shadow line in the row about 2 feet under this box vent. Appears to be a lot of installation issues with the roof itself. Right elevation appears to be in a little bit better shape than the other elevations. This is probably due to the directional facing slope, which the slope probably sits more at a west angle and does not get as much direct sunlight. Rear elevation. Another box vent chalked. Impressions are not very evident as far as peril related damages on the box vents. There appears to be some missing shingles on the rear elevation, which could be due to installation or the peril of wind. The actual cause of damage is unknown due to the slippage seen in the mechanical tears in the shingle right above the second one down, right above it. Also appears to be one missing ridge cap on the hip. This also shows a better view of the box vent. Does not show a very big impression for a hailstone to pick up enough free fall energy to actually damage the mat of the shingle. Rear elevation looks to be likely associated with other elevations as far as defect in the actual shingle itself and improper installation. This would actually be a Broan vent, or so-called exhaust through roof, which is ventilation for the actual dryer. . Once again, offset exposures. You can see at the very top of the course, the shadow line is a lot more prominent in some areas than others. It appears that this box vent has a flange that has been raised, which has caused an opening in the roof and could be a possible leak. Looks like a mechanical mark. Could be from the assembly house or from the actual install itself. Granule bonding defect exposed. Possibility of different lots in the actual shingles itself that show discoloration from one batch to the next. Markings of spot defects. And once again, the applique shows the defect a little bit more prominent in this area as opposed to looking at the right. Overall determination and assessment of the actual roof itself, it appears to be more wear and tear, age, and installation than anything. However, there is damage on the rear right elevation on the back side of the hip, which could be associated with wind or install.